Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zachariah Connor. I am a guitar player from Corvallis, Oregon. I play in a band called the Morningtide. Check us out on Spotify. And also I play in a band called Makeshift Casual. Check us out on Spotify. Bada ding, bada boom. Today we're going to be checking out a very special guitar. It is a 2011 Fender Modern Player Marauder, which was my very first electric guitar. So this guitar means a lot to me. And I really hope the talking doesn't go too long in this video because it's such a cool instrument, and I really want to tell you guys about it and also where the heck it came from, because I think that's a cool lesson as well. So let's start off with the history of the Fender Marauder, and we'll get into the story of how I came to get this, and then I'll talk to you guys about the actual guitar itself. Okay, so the Fender Marauder was to be the next top level Fender instrument. So in 1950, Fender released the Telecaster and the Esquire, which were 1 and 2 pickup versions of the Telecaster respectively. And then in 1954 came the Stratocaster, which added a middle pickup, a vibrato system, and more knobs. And then in 1958, the Jazzmaster was introduced with bigger, warmer sounding pickups and a rhythm circuit and a different vibrato system. The Jaguar followed in 1962 with a high pass filter. And more chrome and a short scale. Now, basically the story of the Marauder is this. Fender wanted to compete was still trying to break into that upper level market, and actually the Jaguar and the Jazzmaster actually did pretty well in the 60s. A lot of people like to say that they were failures commercially, but they really weren't. They did really well on the release. The Jazzmaster, not with its intended audience, of course. Jazz players didn't really take to it, but there were a lot of people, such as Roy Clark, seen playing all kinds of stuff on it. That his like country stuff. He was crazy good. Go listen to him if you haven't heard him. So he played Jazzmasters and Jaguars. Jimi Hendrix has played them before. Now, obviously, they have their flaws, and as people moved to lighter and lighter strings, they became less ideal. And you can find more about that if you check out Pushing on YouTube or his Instagram. He's the Jazzmaster Daddy, so he can tell you all about that. But yeah, basically Fender wanted to get into that high-level market, the nice guitar market like Gibson was doing. So Gibson was really good at that. Fender was good at the budget market. Fender really wanted to get those high profit margins, and they wanted a guitar that could compete. This guy who, this musician named, whose nickname was Porky, decided to patent and develop a pickup system where the pickups were underneath the pickguard, like a masked Marauder. Masked. It's really hard for me to say that. Masked. Masked Marauder. Masked. Oh God. A masked Marauder. So the pickups were completely hidden, so you wouldn't hit them with your pick. And as you can see here, I have hit this pickup a lot with my pick. So that was a pretty novel idea, because all the guitars now and forever have had exposed pickups, and if you put them too far away from the strings, the output goes down. But he was thinking, what if we made a guitar that looks so sleek? The pickups were underneath the pickguard, but they were powerful enough to pick up the strings from that far away. So he came to Leo Fender, and they collaborated, and they developed a guitar that Leo patented in 1964 called the Marauder, and it had 4 16-pole humbucking pickups that were buried deep in the guitar. So they were underneath the pickguard in the body of the guitar. So there were just 4. So there was a neck middle, bridge middle, and bridge pickup. And they were controlled via 4 3-way switches down here. So it was kind of like the Bass 6 control plate with the 4 on and off switches, but they also could change phase, so there were 3-way. So you actually had 48 total sounds, including off. Righto. And then it had the model that appeared in the 1965 catalog, the prototype, Type 1, had a Stratocaster bridge with a chrome cover, the 4 hidden pickups, the 4 switches, a rhythm circuit, and then a volume and a tone with black witch hat knobs. It also had a maple headstock that was bigger, just like all the headstocks were in 65, but it just said Fender and it didn't say Marauder on it. So it was listed in the catalog, But it never made it to production. In fact, they only made 6, and those 6 have been hidden in collections ever since. Porky himself has said to have, it's been said that he had one, he modified it, did some stuff with it, but yeah, basically no one's ever photographed them. There was a Type 2 that came out. There were several that had slanted frets, actually, which was really interesting. But they all had 3 pickups, the last one being angled, so it was like a Stratocaster in terms of pickup configuration, but they were bolted to the body rather than the pick guard like on the Strat. And there was a bajillion rocker switches. There was like 1 down here, there were like 5 here, and like 6 here. There was a lot of rocker switches. And then it had this big metal plate with a Mustang vibrato at the back, and then a Jazzmaster bridge. It was really something, and it had binding and blocks, and it had a headstock that looked like that ended up getting used on the Starcaster later, which is crazy. And there's been several of those made. People have made replicas, but Fender's never actually reissued the guitar in its original form. Many believe the Type 1 was chosen not to be continued because of the pickups were either too expensive to make or they didn't have enough output, depending on who you talk to. But anyway, the design of the body had these pointier horns, so it was an offset waist similar to the Jazzmaster or the Jaguar, but it had pointier horns, more like a Strat. So it was kind of like a combination between the Strat and the Jazzmaster and Jaguar shape. So it was really, really comfortable, and I think it's the most comfortable body I've ever played on a guitar. Because it's got the contour, the belly cut, and the offset waist, so it's super comfortable, and it's shorter too, so it's smaller and more compact than the Jazzmaster and the Jaguar, which are pretty big guitars. Right, so that's the history of the Fender Marauder in a couple minutes. Now let's talk about the modern player Marauder. So in 2011, this is the only time that Fender's ever made a version of the Marauder for mass production. 2011, Fender releases their Modern Player series, which are built in China, the same factory where they do the Squier Classic Vibe guitars. And they had vintage tuners, medium jumbo frets, vintage tint necks, old school vibrato systems, and a different combination of pickups. There was a Telecaster with an HSS configuration with a Strat pickup in the middle, a humbucker in the bridge, and a tele pickup in the neck. That one's very, very popular. You've probably seen it at a Guitar Center. There's an HSS Strat, which came in white or silver burst. There's a thin line tele with 2 P90s. There's a Jaguar with mahogany body, a 3-way switch, a volume and a tone, and a stop bar tailpiece. And then there was this. And basically it retained the Marauder shape, but it had... it looks like it's slightly shorter than the original one was in the 1965 catalog, but it had volume and tone with the Jaguar knobs, and then it had a Jazzmaster pickup in the neck, this is the original one here, and then a triple bucker 3-coil pickup in the bridge, which was wired to have these back 2 coils in series like a humbucker, and this coil on its own like a single coil. And so basically how it worked is you had a 5-way switch, which selected through neck pickup, neck, and single coil, and back 2 coils wired in series in parallel. So this pickup is in parallel with these 2 pickups that are wired in series. It's very confusing, I know. Think of it as a humbucker and a single coil on at the same time. And then just the bridge humbucker, which was pretty dark. So the issue with the guitar is that positions 2 through 5 were pretty bright, and position 1 was pretty dark. So it was versatile, but made it hard to use in a mix. If you wanted to actually get that hum canceling thickness of the humbucker, you also didn't have enough treble to cut through if you set up your rig to work with the neck pickup and the... Anyway, basically, the pots are mismatched for... you need to have a resistor in series with the single coils in order to take off some of that high end from the single coils if you're going to use a 500K pot to kind of balance things out. So in essence, it was a little unbalanced. That's why I changed the pickups to a Supro gold foil pickup in the bridge, which is a humbucking pickup, and the Seymour Duncan designed Jazzmaster pickup from my Squier Vintage Modified Jazzmaster. So now it has a 3-way switch, and you just get neck pickup, both pickups, and bridge pickup. But yeah, so the story of how, hang on, sorry. Few more features. The body's made of koto, which is an African wood similar to limba. Tonality wise and weight wise, it's similar to alder. 6 screw, 6 saddle, vintage Strat style vibrato system. So springs in the back. You get a Fender neck plate, and then volume and tone. And again, I talked about the original pickups. Big 4-ply perloid pick guard, chrome plate like the Jaguar and Jazzmaster. Yeah, you get a rosewood fretboard with 22 medium jumbo frets with the fretboard extension down there. Bolt-on neck, which is really pretty. I really like it. It's got subtle flaming and bird's eye going on. Again, no logo on the headstock aside from the Fender one, which is pretty cool. Vintage style tuners, which are great. Big 70s, 1965 style headstock. And the neck profile is kind of thin. It's really nice. It's got kind of chunky shoulders, but then it's not very deep. So it's kind of a comfortable neck. And yeah, I dig it. It's a really great guitar. And this was the guitar I grew up playing on. So I got it in around 2012. It was my 14th birthday present, and it was awesome. I was so excited to get this guitar because I finally had an electric guitar, a real one. And yeah, I learned how to play on this guitar, and it was great. And the pickup change happened in 2018 when I came back from Arizona, and but by that time this guitar was no longer my number one. My Jazzmaster had become my number one. I didn't even take this guitar to Arizona. I just took the Jazzmaster, and yeah, basically I was more at home on the Jazzmaster. It played better, and once I upgraded the pickups, it sounded better. And yeah, this guitar kind of became my also ran, and then I sold it to my roommate. I traded it for his Jaguar bass. But now it is back in my possession. I bought it back. I really wanted it back. I really wanted to make the pickup system work. The Super O pickup needed some drilling for it to fit. I wasn't able to get it low enough at first, so but then before I bought it back, I was able to push it down a little bit further, and that improved the balance and lowered the output of this because it's a pretty hot pickup and it's pretty dark compared to the neck pickup. So yeah, what do I love about it? I like the scale length. The Fender scale length is great. I think I like the tension that affords. The guitar is pretty easy to play, I think. The frets are pretty low from me playing on it. I kind of would like to get the frets leveled and crowned. That would be awesome. Some of them are pretty flat topped, and some of them have some grooves. So that is probably the biggest downside of this. It's got some wear. It's got a ding on the headstock, ding on the back. The finish is kind of thin. You can almost see the wood through it, and I'll show you that on the close-ups. And then this pickup cover has just been obliterated by my picking, which is kind of cool. So I hope to keep that pickup cover around. I don't want to replace it. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else there is. I'm definitely going to change the pickups. I want to put either a brighter pickup in the bridge or a darker pickup in the neck. Maybe I'll do a PAF here and a P90 here. And that would kind of give it a great balanced sound. So I'm really excited to try new stuff with this guitar, make it my thick sounding guitar. It already does sound thick, but make the neck pickup match everything else. So yeah, it's been a great instrument, and it really, I mean, without this guitar, I probably would have been playing that Hamer from the pawn shop, which was awesome. It would have been a killer deal because I would have gotten it for $195. So that was kind of a mistake. But yeah, this guitar, I fell in love with it. I just remember playing it at the store, plugging into a deluxe reverb reissue, flicking it to the neck pickup, and just going, oh yeah, that's the sound I want. That single coil neck pickup through a deluxe reverb is something else. So that's why I got this guitar, was because of the feature set, the versatility, and the sound of the neck pickup. Eventually, I moved on to different guitars, but now I've kind of come back to it. So yeah, I'm excited for you to watch the rest of this video. I hope this was fun, interesting, or helpful. If you liked it, please subscribe. I've had so much coffee today, so I am a little crazy and hair is pretty bad. But yeah, if you like this content, like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram if that's your thing. I'll see you guys next time. So I think that'll do it. Follow my band, my band's The Morningtide on Spotify. Get Arms of Peace to 20,000 streams. We're at like 13,000 right now, which is dope. So thanks for the support. If you went there because of this channel, great. If not, go there. You can also follow The Morningtide on Instagram. You can follow my other band, Makeshift Casual, on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram. Yeah. Check these out. They're kind of rare. People are selling them for a lot of money. I might sell it and buy a Veritas one day if they get that expensive, but I don't think I will. It's pretty sentimental to me, so. Okay, I'm going to shut up now, so go have a great day.